All right, Bob Chick for my go-to source. I'm here with Cedric McMillan. The Big Mac is in town. Finally. Got here a little bit late today, a little traffic issues, buddy, but the bottom line is you are here. Now, you're already qualified, Ced. You won a show just 2 weeks ago. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Qualified you for the Big O, of course. But you decided to still compete here. Why?
Yeah, well, I sent my contracts in for the show in California and this one at the same time because honestly, I didn't think I would be able to win either one of them, you know. So I just made sure, I said, you know, these last couple shows, I give myself a break in between to make sure that hopefully I could gain enough points to be qualified for the Olympics. Because the number one goal now, you know, from a business perspective, is to make sure I can get to the Olympia to represent the company that I work for, SciTech. So, you know, I said, as opposed to, you know, doing one show a year, like I always do, I disappear and then I come back. You know, I say, you know, I'll get in shape, stay in shape, and then I'll just keep trying to compete and make myself better and better, you know. So it's actually helping. I've been dieting, man, since October 2014 for the Arnold.
That's right,
year,
yeah,
and
that's right.
Just been keep going, you know.
Well, I mean, so you're in a little bit of uncharted waters in terms of you're definitely competing more. Have you found that it's helped you?
Yeah, now I've never ever done more than one show back to back, except one time in 2013, and when I did, I looked horrible. You know, and I had a little bit of family issues one time. You know, my wife and kids was in a car accident, so you know, I'm always worried. I hate to you know, send in contracts for shows that are too far away because you never know what could happen in life. You know, especially with kids.
Especially when you got kids. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But anyway, when I was, you know, I didn't look good at all. You know, it's just because of so much that was going on, and I always had a phobia. I don't want to do too many shows back to back because I feel like, oh, I'm gonna ruin my body. You know, dehydrate myself much and stuff. But actually, what I found, you know, after the Arnold, you know, I was ready to go fourth place. You know, I was ready to go high. And then, you know, I got to say, you know what? Fuck it, let's keep going. It'll be better to keep going now and make some improvements while I'm in shape than to get 300, to get 300 again and got to start all over.
I think that's smart, right? I think that's smart.
So we kept going, and what I found out was actually once I stayed in shape and then just keep eating and keep training, I was able to grow a little bit and make some improvements. And then I didn't have to diet as hard, meaning I didn't have to go no super low carbs, and I didn't have to do a lot of cardio because I was already in shape. I just needed to maintain it. Yeah, so that actually helped and made it a little bit more comfortable, you know. Then you know, you got 40 pounds to lose, you know.
Yeah. No, it's a bigger road, you know, to hoe, you know, when you got to do that. So I think that's personally, just my own 2 cents, I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I think that's a smarter strategy. I think you staying in shape is going to bring you in tighter.
Yeah.
If there's any one criticism you've ever gotten, of course, it's conditioning.
Right.
Cedric's got everything. He's got the shape. He's got the muscle. He's got the size. He's got the aesthetics. You know, you got the big sign off from Arnold. You got all this stuff. Like I say, if there's one Achilles heel that anybody picks on with you, well, he's got to get the conditioning. So I think it'll help you in that aspect of maybe just getting that extra 5%. You ain't got to move mountains.
Right.
It's just that much.
Yeah, and see, you know, and in terms of conditioning, you know, I've listen, it ain't nobody in the world that hates that or hearing that more than me.
Of course.
It's not like everybody else is wrong and I'm saying no. You know, so I listen, and I've done everything in the book. I've done 0 carbs for God knows how long. I've done 3 hours of cardio a day. You know, and a lot of times it seems like I just get to the point where, you know, I almost go catabolic trying to go so hard. You know what I'm saying?
Which can be defeating the other
way. And you know, I started doing some research and some studying and looking at other bodybuilders and stuff. You know, and I read an article from Dorian Yates, and he said, you know, he was blessed with genetics to have thin, dry, grainy skin. And I'm saying, and I believe I have thick skin, you know, that doesn't have, I don't have a lot of veins, and I don't have a lot of, you know, my skin is really thick and smooth, you know what I'm saying? Which is cool to just be walking around as a normal guy. But getting on the competition stage,
different animal.
You got somebody like Dorian Yates or somebody like Branch Warren that has that good thin skin. And they get in shape, you know, then it makes everybody else look like they're out of shape. You know what I'm saying?
Lucky you got Branch Warren here. We'll talk about that in a second. But, you know, Cedric, the biggest misconception in the bodybuilding world is that when a guy doesn't show up and he's not peeled to the max, it's automatically assumed he ain't working hard enough. And this is something that I had to deal with in my career because it took me forever to turn pro.
Right.
And that's all I heard from people, which used to piss me off.
Yeah, right.
It's like, man, listen, I'm killing myself over here.
That's right.
It ain't for lack of trying. It's like, look, I just can't get the right combination. But it wasn't for lack of hard work or training or, well, he doesn't train hard. It's like, these are the biggest misconceptions on the earth. Sometimes you just got to find the right combination.
And I was talking to Chris on the way down the road. We were stuck in traffic. So,
all kinds of time to talk shop.
And what I told him was, and what we were talking about is, people talk about, shape is genetics and size is genetics, your structure is genetics. But I believe conditioning is a genetic thing too, along with your skin texture. Sure. So for one guy, it might be really, really easy for them to get in shape. And it don't mean just because he's in the good shape, the good conditioning he's in, that he worked harder than you.
That's right.
It just means, everybody has, their different strengths and weaknesses, And and I'm glad that you can honestly say that you've been through that, where people say, damn, chick, you need to be tighter, you need to be tighter. You're like, man,
years and years.
I know. And then when you actually get tight, people say,
I got a mirror, I know. I can see it.
And then when you actually get tight, people say, oh, he still needs to be a little tighter. And you're like, but did you just see what was on stage? I look good, right? But you develop that stigma that follows you along. And there's no way. I mean, it'll take 3 years of consistency, I think, to erase a stigma that you develop, at a few shows,
Well, listen, everybody's got their thing. You got Branch Warren. Now, you and Branch, the two biggest names in the show. Of course, everybody's expecting.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Everybody's expecting the big showdown. But the interesting thing, we talk about the proverbial apples and oranges. You guys are about as completely opposite as they get. Branch short. You're taller. Branch, as light skin as they get, you as dark skin as they get. Branch, grainy, hard, Dorian-esque, with that thin, Cedric shape, beautiful proportion, the whole thing, which Branch doesn't have. So you each kind of bring completely different to the table, which makes it real interesting for the judges sometimes, because sometimes it's just,
how do you compare?
Well, I mean, listen, Branch and Dexter, who are kind of complete opposites in that, Dexter more similar to yourself, except obviously shorter. But again, beautiful physique, nice flowing lines, but Branch, obviously what Branch brings. But they've beaten each other equally. So, you can see where that just kind of sometimes comes down to the judging panel, or if one guy's got a slight edge. For the fans, this is a great show. So we're definitely looking forward to you and Branch mixing it up along with the other guys that are in there. Some guys making their debuts like Nick Trigilli, other guys like Robert Petrokovich and Stefan Havlik, a couple veterans in there. So this is shaping up to be a good one. But one thing's for sure, Cedric McMillan will be in the mix. We will see him on stage tomorrow battling it out for the win. And of course, we will see you in Las Vegas, Nevada for Joe Weider's 51st Mr. Olympia coming up in just 3 weeks. So Cedric, best of luck. Thanks for catching up, man. We'll catch up with you post-show.
Okay. All right. Thank you for having me.